there is levity, and there's joy, and there's sex.
The love. I love the love.
Polyamory.
Yeah, yeah. Margaret was all about this. I mean, from early on.
We're talking about Margaret Moth,
yeah,
an amazing camerawoman who worked in the very early days of CNN, going to Eastern Europe to cover atrocities that were going on. So how did you discover Margaret Moth?
I was approached by her best friend and the heir to her estate, which was basically a suitcase full of memories. And he said, do you want to make a film about Margaret Moth? And I went, oh my gosh, I remember she was a Kiwi who was shot in the face,
yes,
in during the Bosnian War. And I wrote back within 90 seconds and said, yes, I will find the money, I will find the producer, we will make this film. It was like, I hate to make an Exorcist reference, but it was like the spirit of Margaret compelled me.
What was it like having interviews with super famous journalists like Christiane Amanpour?
So interviewing somebody like Christiane Amanpour, I was really grateful to her for giving me just an hour of her time, because Russia was invading Ukraine that morning.
Oh, wow.
And for her to give an hour of her time to Margaret Moth just shows the esteem that she has for not only Margaret, but all her colleagues. They take a lot of care of one another.
So here's a question. Would you rather skydive, be a war correspondent, or have a bunch of boyfriends around the world?
Boyfriends around the world?
Okay.
I've skydived, meh. War, no thank you.
What was the hardest part of making sure you got everything together for this?
Getting the rights to things. It's really expensive. There might be 3 seconds of footage that I spot Margaret in the back of, and they'll say, no, that's going to cost you 8,000 euros.
And there were also some very intimate photos between all of the numerous men in her life.
They were in Margaret's suitcase of treasures. Joe, her best friend, had to transport this stuff out of Turkey where she lived, and he was like, I don't want to, I had to go through all the videos to make sure there was nothing that was going to be like, he would be put in jail for just taking out of the country, at the border.
It was so harrowing to see what the protection for those reporters and for those camera people looked like back then.
Right, well, prior to 1992, journalists in war were seen kind of like the Red Cross, like they were given a pass by all the protagonists. Margaret was like the second person to be deliberately targeted, presumably because they knew they were guilty of atrocities. They didn't want it to be seen.
And this is a through line for your career about heroines. So is that part of what made you want to tell this story? You're like, yeah.
No,
because no,
it's not heroines. It's the flaws that make her beautiful. And being a human is messy. So I'm only bringing my artistic impression of one woman's life, but that's what we relate to.